Do you fear death? Who doesn't? We all fear death, but why? We fear death for two main reasons. One, we fear death because of the loss of all that we own, all that is known. And two, we fear death because of the unknown that lies beyond. We fear death because we think we will lose my husband, my wife, my mother, my father, my children, my house, my car, my money. Everything is gone. In that moment of death, nothing is ours. We fear that moment where we will lose everything. And we fear the moment of death because we don't know what lies beyond death. Nobody knows. And we fear. We see a body being burnt into flames in the cremation grounds. When you look at a crematorium, you get a chill. What will happen when my body burns? You see a body being lowered in the ground in a coffin, and you wonder how many worms will eat into this body. Therefore, we all fear death. But why do we fear death? It is because of ignorance. The moment we know the A to Z of death, death will not be a moment of desperation. It will become a moment of celebration. Because death is liberation. Only the body dies. I will never die. I am not this body. When we realize this truth that I am an immortal soul, there is no fear. Do you fear changing your clothes? Oh, you don't. You change clothes every day. So we change bodies. We don't realize that this body was formed over the 9 months in our mother's womb. Were we born on our birthday? That's a lie. It's a lie. We were born 9 months before. Who was born 9 months before? When we contemplate birth, we overcome the fear of death. It is because we realize this body was made of the 5 elements. It was formed of these elements. One day, when the soul departs, the body will return to its 5 elements. We are the soul. That soul is the S-O-U-L, the spark of unique life. We are that soul that is conceived 9 months before our so-called birthday. Our real birthday is 9 months before what is on our birth certificate. But we are taught lies, that God lives in the skies, and after we die, we will have to go and meet God. No. Death is a reality. Every body must die, will die. Every living creature dies. A dog or a frog, a butterfly, a bee or a tree. We have different lifespans. A man has a lifespan of 100 years. A dog 10, 15 years. A butterfly 2 weeks. A housefly 1 day. We can only live as per the lifespan. Maybe a man can live 110, 120, but have you seen many people at 200, 300, 400? It's not possible. Because the lifespan is about 100 years. The life expectancy is different. In Africa it may be 50, in India it may be 70, in an advanced country like Japan or Hong Kong 90. The life expectancy depends on health and other conditions. But everybody must die. Accept the reality of death, but also realize that only the body dies. The soul lets go of the body, departs into the sky. It is that soul that came alive 9 months before our birth. What is the soul? It is a spark of unique life. It is energy. It is power. And just like science says, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. We are that energy, immortal soul. Death is only of the body, and the soul leaves the body. That is the moment of death. People wonder, what is death? Have you seen a light bulb? A light bulb has light because of electricity, because of power. The moment there is no power, the bulb goes off. You switch on the power, the bulb comes on. But what when the bulb breaks? The power doesn't come back into the bulb because the bulb is broken. So is death. When the body disintegrates, life cannot come back into the body. Either the body disintegrates and the life leaves, or the life leaves and the body disintegrates. Both are simultaneous. But death will happen. We have to learn to accept death without protest. Because it's going to come. It may come today. It may come tomorrow. It may come 5 years later. It may come 25 years later. But death is sure to knock at the door. And then you will be on the floor. Because the body will die. What is the reality of death? Death is not the end. Death is just a bend. Sometimes you're driving a car and it looks like the end. But when you reach the end, there is a bend. So is death. Death is not the end of life. It is the end of one chapter of the book called life. Because when the body dies, in most cases, me who was alive, the mind and ego, carrying its karma, its unsettled deeds, returns to earth in a rebirth, in a new body. And this is a cycle that goes on and on. We are reborn. This is the way for this world to continue. The Creator has created it in such a manner that there's birth, then we perform karma, then there's death, then we carry the karma and we come back to earth in a rebirth. And this goes on and on. Because we think I am the body that dies. We think I am mind and ego, me. But the moment I realize I am not that body that dies, I am not me, the mind and ego, I am the divine soul, then for the soul there is no karma. For the soul there is no rebirth. For the soul there is no returning to earth. In that moment of death, when the body dies, the soul departs into the sky. It becomes one with the divine. Unfortunately, we think God is that old man with a long white beard sitting up in the clouds high above. God is not he or she. God is the power that is in you and me. God is Sip, the supreme immortal power. God is the soul, the spark of unique life. Your soul is unique to you, my soul is unique to me, as long as it is encapsulated in the body. The moment the soul leaves two bodies, the souls become one. They become part of Sip. The two souls are like two waves of an ocean, appear to be two separate waves. They return to being the ocean. Imagine you take two balloons. You blow a blue balloon and a white balloon. These two balloons were dead. Now they have life. You release the air in the balloon. Can you return the blue air and the white air of the balloons? You can't. The air in the balloons merges with the air that is everywhere. So does the soul. The soul merges with Sip, the supreme immortal power, the energy that is everywhere. Doesn't science say that this whole universe is full of energy? Dark energy, black energy, grey, and whatever they call it. We are all that energy. When we are born, we are a single-celled zygote, one cell. And the soul helps the cell multiply. 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 16. Till we become 30 trillion cells. When we are born, we are about 25 trillion cells, but then we grow because of what we eat. And all this ultimately returns back to the 5 elements. Back to the story of death. Therefore, death is a reality. You can't escape it. Only the body dies. Everybody who is born must die. And everybody who is born will suffer pain of the body, misery of the mind, agony of the ego. Everybody who is born performs actions. Every human being that is born performs actions. And those who are not human beings, they also are part of the cycle of karma. A dog or a frog, a bee or a tree is also suffering because of their past karma or action or deeds. And just like the seeds you plant decides the fruit on the tree, the deeds you plant decide your destiny. Have you ever wondered why a child is born blind? It's not because God is not kind. A child is born blind because of its past karma. Not that little baby that is born, but the one who is born in that baby, the me, the mind and ego, that left at the moment of death. If one has to realize the truth about death, at death, one of 2 things happens. If we are ignorant, we think we are the body that dies. We are me, the mind and ego that does karma, and we return to earth. But if we realize we are not the body, not the mind and ego, if we realize we are the divine soul, in that moment of enlightenment, death is liberation. Death is celebration. We become one with the divine. Why should there be desperation? That's why some people, they dance, because they realize that death is liberation. Death is liberation. Remember, when somebody dies, there is no need to cry, because the moment they are gone, they are already reborn. Who are you crying for? The dead body will be returned to dust, but the one who was alive has already started a new journey of life in the womb of a new mother. And because of ignorance, what do? We put a picture on the wall and we light incense sticks and pray for the departed soul. This is ignorance. We say R.I.P. What is R.I.P.? Who will rest in peace? The body has already returned to pieces. Who will rest in peace? But still we fear death. And the fear of death is because of ignorance. The moment we realize we are not this body that dies, this body was formed over 9 months, this body will return to dust. The moment we realize we are that spark of unique life, the soul, the moment we realize death is a moment of liberation, the moment we realize this, then death becomes a celebration. There is no need for desperation. Therefore, realize the truth, that death is not the end. It is just a bend. This world is a huge stage. We are like actors who come and go. It's all a show. And in this show, there is karma, the universal law of action and reaction. As long as I think I am the body, mind, ego, I will create karma. The moment I realize I am the divine soul, I become a divine instrument, free from karma. Then death liberates me and unites me with the divine. There is no misery on earth and there is no rebirth. But very few people realize the truth about death. In the book we have published A to Z of death, the truth of death is revealed. The mystery that filled our history is removed because we overcome the myth as we realize the truth. I am not I. I am not the body that dies. I am not the mind and ego that says me. I am the divine soul. Is it difficult to contemplate birth? I was born 9 months before as that spark of life. Is it difficult to contemplate death? People will say, you passed away. People are so sure that we are not this body that died. They will destroy the body. Our own family, our loved ones will destroy this body because they are sure in that moment of death, we depart, we pass away. If we were sleeping, would anybody dare cremate our body? No. We have to be sure that death is a moment of liberation. Let it be a celebration. When I die, I tell people, when I die, please don't cry, for I will be in union with the Lord in the sky. We all come from the divine, we go back to the divine. Because of ignorance, we get caught in this body-mind complex. We get caught in this material world. We get attached to people and things, and we suffer. We suffer the triple suffering of body, mind, ego on earth, and we return in a rebirth only because we don't realize the truth about death. The moment we realize, I will never die, the body will die, but I will fly into the sky. I am the soul. I am the spark of unique life. This realization will lead to liberation, which will lead ultimately to unification with the divine. The next time somebody dies, be peaceful, because that person has been liberated. If that person has karma, that person will be reborn, and it will go on and on. But if that person has realized the truth, if that person is enlightened, that person will not return to earth in a rebirth. That person will become one with SIP. That person will start a beautiful trip. That person will be on another ship. Because to that person, death is celebration. Death is liberation. Death is unification. Learn to celebrate death by realizing the truth about death.